I was running late that morning. I had promised my son, Max, that I would drive him to the bus stop instead of making him walk. When we caught sight of the corner, my heart missed a beat. There was my 12-year-old, shoulders hunched, clutching his backpack to his chest, while a fashionable middle-aged woman towered over him, jabbing her manicured finger in the air inches from his face. I could see the distress in Max's wide eyes from 50 feet away. "I've never seen you here before," the woman said, her voice slicing through the quiet morning air. "This is a private neighborhood bus stop. I need to see proof of residence right now, or I'm calling security." There were some other parents and children in the vicinity. They all seemed uneasy, but none of them got involved. I pulled my unmarked police car over to the side of the road, being careful not to draw attention to the government plates. We'd only been in Oak Ridge Estates for 3 weeks, and I'd gone out of my way to keep my profession a secret. It's hard being a police chief in a small town like Ridgemont. People always treated you differently. I simply wanted Max to have a normal life, especially after his mom died 2 years ago. I stepped out just as the woman's voice rose in pitch. "Do you know what trespassing is, young man? I'm the president of the HOA. I have every right to confront suspicious individuals in this community." Max's voice was barely a whisper. "I live here. My dad and I just moved in on Maple Drive." The woman, who I would later learn was Karen Whitfield, infamous chairperson of the HOA Community Standards Committee, scoffed. "That's what a person who doesn't belong here would say. Maple Drive? Please. What number house? Who lived there before? Why haven't I seen your parents at any of the community meetings?" I stepped slowly, my voice even, something I'd learned in 20 years of police work. "Excuse me, is everything all right here?" Karen confronted me with a superior smile of condescension. She was in her late 40s, with an expensive-looking blonde bob and a pantsuit that screamed, "I need to speak to your manager." A gold HOA president pin sparkled on her lapel. "I'm handling a situation," she said, barely glancing at me. "This child claims to live here, but I've never seen him before. We've had problems with non-residents using our private amenities." Max saw me and immediately relaxed. "Dad." Karen's eyebrows shot up. She turned to me, clearly recalibrating, but not backing down. "Oh, you're his father. Well, as I was saying, as HOA president, it's my responsibility to maintain community safety. We have strict rules about who utilizes the bus stop. I'll need to see your community ID card." Other parents were looking now. Some were uncomfortable, others resigned. It was clear this wasn't Karen's first power trip. One woman even shot me an apologetic look. "Ma'am," I said as calmly as I could, "my son and I 3 weeks ago became residents of 478 Maple Drive, the old Harrison house. We're listed residents. Max has just as much right to stand at this bus stop." Karen crossed her arms, tapping her red-tipped fingers on her designer handbag. "Everyone is aware that new residents must report to the HOA and obtain their ID prior to utilizing the community facilities. That includes the bus stop. I didn't make the rules. I'm just here to apply them." I placed my hand firmly on Max's shoulder. "Go wait in the car, buddy. The bus will be here any moment. I'll handle this." Having gotten Max in safely, I faced her. This was not the HOA's first time making life difficult. In 3 weeks, we'd already received citations. Mailbox 2 inches too low, window trim wrong shade of beige, recycling bin visible for more than 4 hours. "Ms. Whitfield, isn't it?" I asked, although I already knew from the welcome packet she'd personally delivered, along with a 3-page letter itemizing violations that allegedly needed immediate correction. "That's right, Karen Whitfield, HOA president. 7 consecutive terms," she said, puffing with pride. "Well, Ms. Whitfield," I said, "I think there's been a serious misunderstanding. Interrogating a child without a parent present crosses a number of boundaries, legal and ethical, and my son was clearly distraught." She snorted. "I have board approval to question anyone on community property. We've been having some problems with vandalism. The board authorized increased security. If your son had been carrying ID, this wouldn't be an issue." Something in her smug tone made me decide it was time to drop the Friendly Neighbor Act. I reached into my jacket and pulled out my badge, low enough so the kids wouldn't notice, but high enough so Karen could easily read it. Chief Thomas Reynolds, Ridgemont Police Department. What you just did was harass my 12-year-old son while he waited for a school bus. That's not only a violation of HOA rules, it could be the intimidation of a minor under state law. The transformation was instantaneous and almost farcical. Her face drained of color, her mouth opening and closing like a fish. I didn't know. Chief, it's a misunderstanding. I was just doing my job as HOA president, keeping people safe. If someone had said, "That's the problem," I interrupted. "You shouldn't have to know I'm the police chief to treat a kid with common courtesy. Any kid, not just mine." The school bus stopped. I called Max over. Karen was still trying to retrieve. The other parents weren't pretending anymore. They were staring and judging. "I'm going to make a formal report of this incident," I said to him. Not as a homeowner, but as a law enforcement officer who's concerned about kids being bullied in this community. And I'd love to see the bylaw that's supposed to give you the authority to question kids on their own. I believe the lawyers for the HOA would be very interested in that one. That's when another parent finally chimed in. "She did the same thing to my daughter last month," the woman said. "Accused her of having an outsider at the park. Told us she would fine us. We were too afraid to do anything. Karen is on the violation committee." Another parent chimed in. "She got my landscaping company banned from the neighborhood. Said their truck was parked too long. Cost me over $1,000 to get someone else." Karen's face turned red again, this time with shame, not authority. "This is absurd. I've spent 8 years trying to keep this neighborhood safe and our property values high. You have no idea what would happen if we didn't have rules and enforcement." The bus arrived. I hugged Max and told him to have a good day. "Don't worry about any of this," I said. After the children had boarded, I shifted my focus back to Karen, who was now holding her handbag like a shield. "Ms. Whitfield, I expect to see you at the police station later today, 3 p.m. You'll be giving a sworn deposition regarding your behavior towards children. I'll also be attending the next HOA meeting to discuss new community security policies, ones that don't involve questioning children." Her lips pursed into a thin line. "You can't be serious that this needs to involve the police. I was just doing my job." "Harassing people is nobody's job," I said firmly. "And what you did today could get you charged. Intimidation of a minor, harassment, even impersonating a security guard. That's a $5,000 fine and jail time." She turned pale again. This time she had no comeback. The parents watched, some with outright satisfaction. Karen's reign of terror had clearly touched more families than just mine. A week later, in an email to the community, it was stated that Karen Whitfield had regretfully resigned as HOA president and committee chairperson amidst several complaints. She was fined $2,000 for harassment and sentenced to 40 hours of community service. The HOA apologized officially, especially to the families with kids, and promised to review all guidelines. The next day, I watched Karen dart from her Mercedes to her front door, not looking anyone in the eye. I did not feel smug satisfaction, just relief. Relief that now children like Max could finally wait for the bus in peace.